The brand new Pursuit line of paddles from Engage are ready to take over the pickleball scene. Offered in a light and standard weight class, there's a paddle for every playstyle. The Pursuit EX and EX 6.0 feature an omnidirectional graphite hitting surface for excellent control. In conjunction with the paddle surface, Engage's unique Control Pro Black core was created to be the softest paddle core on the market. The EX 6.0 is highlighted by a 5/8 inch core, while the standard EX comes in a smaller 1/2 inch core for similar feel but increased power. The Engage Pursuit line of paddles is setting the bar on what a paddle should be. Right off the bat, I was impressed by the playability and construction that these paddles had to offer. As a player who prefers power paddles, I started with the non-6.0 version. It had a ton of pop off the surface, and I found I had to rein it in a bit to prevent my ball from landing out. But after a few points, I was able to get used to it and I really enjoyed it. The 6.0 version still had a decent amount of power to it, but it added just enough control to my shots that I felt it was an easier transition for my game. The texture on the hitting surface was great. The graphite surface has that omnidirectional weave, so the grit comes from the material itself and not some overlay, so you'll see some good durability there. When looking at the EX versus the MX, I found myself enjoying the MX version because as a player with a smaller wingspan, I took benefit in that added reach, especially at the kitchen. Overall, the Pursuit EX line of paddles is incredible. While I prefer the MX versions in the Pursuit line due to the extended length, the EX is still a strong offering from Engage.
I really enjoyed playtesting the Engage Pursuit EX and EX 6.0 paddles. They worked perfectly with my pickleball strategy and my game. Now, as William mentioned, at first it was hard to make a distinction between the two paddles as they both were very responsive. I felt like I was very dialed in with my precision, but the biggest point of distinction for me was that thicker core gave me the control I needed specifically on my serves and that third ball. So I really play with not too much room for error, and I really needed that 6.0 to help me dial in that dropper to the feet of my opponent so I wasn't popping the ball up too high. I like to play with some cheeky shots, and that 6.0 really allowed me to utilize my angles and get my opponents off the court and strategize with positioning the ball for the next shot. So I'm not a really patient dinker, so the 6.0 allowed me to really be specific and precise with the shots that I was going for and then put the ball away when it popped up. If I was playtesting these paddles side by side, it was noticeable that the EX did have that boost in power. However, that was just fine for me if I only had that paddle. I was still found success on the pickleball court. I just preferred the 6.0 for a little bit more control, response, and feel.
Here today to talk about the brand new Pursuit EX 6.0 and standard EX from Pursuit. I definitely concur with what Will mentioned early. Engage has got a paddle for virtually everybody, every weight, every kind of paddle thickness, etc. My make or break for whether or not I'm really going to enjoy a paddle playing pickleball with it is kind of the chalkboard test. Drag your finger down. If it's got a lot of grit on it, which these paddles do, I'm able to kind of shape my shots and hold the ball on the spot of the paddle, so I can induce a lot of spin, top spin, or slice, kind of shape my shots and work my way into the net. These are the shorter paddles. I really enjoyed them a lot. I did kind of feel like I was playing with a ping pong paddle where I had to ride an index finger up on the paddle surface to kind of gain control of it. I had a little harder time hanging off the end of the paddle. I think I did prefer the slightly thicker 5/8 or 16 millimeter version, the 6.0, as opposed to the thinner. It did return a little bit more energy, but I preferred the extra slight bit of comfort and control that I got with the kind of thicker cross section on the other paddle. Overall, just a great play test. I would suggest, it's really hard to get away from the wind playing pickleball outdoors. I did notice that the heavier paddles seem to be a lot easier to gauge in windy conditions than the lighter ones. Sometimes the ball's getting pushed around plus the paddle, and I definitely appreciated the standard as opposed to the lighter. Great play test overall.
We found the EX and MX paddles play very similarly in construction. So much so that our playtesters had a hard time differentiating the two in that regard. So we feel the Engage Pursuit line of paddles has something for every player who's looking for a standard or extended length offering. If you want more information on these paddles, check them out at totalpickleball.com.